Okay.
Now, they got it worked up, Dan? Dave Wilsey's on the phone. He says he can't get in.
Oh, okay. Now it's. Yeah, he should be able to, he's in, you know.
Is he in now?
He has been in.
Okay.
Good.
Let's call the
Things are off to a good.
Boone County Committee of the Whole Administration Committee to order at 6:10 PM on Thursday, May 6th. For whatever reason, I almost said February. I have no idea why. But apologize for the delay in the start here. We had some technical. So we'll start with Carl Johnson, here. Eski,
Here.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Here.
Dave Wiltsey. Dave Wiltsey.
Tell him to press *6 to unmute it.
Dave, can you press *6 to try and unmute yourself? I know you're trying to be on. All right, we'll work on that. Ray Larson,
Here.
Steve Schabacher, Jeff Carlisle,
Here.
Ryan Curry,
Here.
Bill Robertson,
Here.
Sherry Bartelt,
Here.
Rodney Riley,
Here.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Here.
Mr. Wiltsey, are you on yet?
Phone number, so it might have been him.
We'll get back to Dave. Next, I accept a motion to approve the April 1st Committee of the Whole Administrative Meeting Minutes and the April 8th Finance Minutes. Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Schabacher. Any discussion? Ms. Geeske.
I don't know if it matters anymore, but Ray Larson was a call-in on both of those meetings, and he's not listed as such. I don't know if it matters.
Should we make note of that?
We'll correct it.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, roll call. Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, I accept a motion to approve the agenda.
Changes?
Any changes? No.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Robertson. Any discussion? Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Did we get any public comment? Any public comment from the boardroom? Seeing none. Mr. Curry, floor is yours.
All right, moving into monthly presentations. Sheriff?
I'll keep it brief. Probably not, but I'll try. We had a steady month. We had one fatality, unfortunately, down on Genoa Road since the last meeting. We did 10 details on an IDOT grant, which the board recalls Illinois Department of Transportation provided us with $54,000 to do grants or do details throughout the year. So we recently did 10 of those. Those are primarily for either DUI, distracted driving, or seatbelts. So we ended up stopping 250 cars and wrote 252 citations and 213 cell phones. So the lesson is, everybody and their brother's on their cell phone when they're driving down the street. We get a lot of flack on social media that we're actually, writing tickets. But there are a tremendous amount of accidents that are because of cell phones. So we're going to continue to do that, especially when it doesn't it doesn't cost the Boone County taxpayers a penny. But it actually does. They already paid it. We're just getting some of our money back from the state. So we're going to continue to do that. Overtime budget, which is always, a concern for the sheriff's office. We've actually been doing pretty good in most of the divisions. Patrol, we're about 13% under budget. Dispatch, we're 5 over. And corrections, we're 30% over budget, which is a tremendous amount of money. It's roughly $53,000 over budget to this point already. Now, obviously because of, vacations, stuff like that over the summer, patrol will pick up, dispatch will pick up. I'm really not concerned of anywhere other than corrections. Right now, our levels for patrol, we are down two officers right now. Can't get anybody into school for a year, so that's been our hang up. We're having a third officer actually leave. We had our first police reform casualty after 5 years. This guy's a stud. He's a great policeman. He's going to be moving to Arizona. I don't know why he'd want to leave Illinois. Dispatch, we have 1 retirement we have open, and corrections has really been our main problem. We've had 4 correctional officers we're down that we haven't been able to hire again because we can't get in. So guys are working a tremendous amount of overtime, and we still have 1 out on disability because of COVID. So this guy's been out on disability for about probably 4 months now. So we're hoping that he's going to be coming back. So the only caveat with corrections, although it sounds like 30% over budget, is a lot, which it is. I'm really not that concerned about it because our wages, as I explained, kind of offsets our overtime. We're not paying out wages because we have openings, which clearly we're under budget for wages. So say 53,000 over in wages, we're 67,000 to the good. So it's still, as far as the budget's concerned, it's really not going to be an issue. It's much more we don't want to keep working our people every day of the week. We are picking up this week and next week our 6 new squads, 4 of them that were paid out of the general fund, which we appreciate that, and 2 other squads that we're buying out of sheriff's funds. So we'll be picking those up. Fortunately, we were able to get a dealership at state bid that already had them in stock, so we didn't have to wait to 6 to 8 months. So that's huge for us because we really need to replace these cars. Next month, we'll be rolling out our new canine vehicle and our new canine. Officer just got back from school. He's actually in military National Guard leave right now. So when he gets back to work next month, we'll be unveiling it to the public, our new canine, which is going to be a really good dog. Probably 90% of the replacement of not only the squad, but the canine itself and the training was really paid by donations, which is really huge, and insurance. But as we know, insurance hardly pays us anything. So I think they paid $6,000 for the dog and $5,000 for the squad lines. If you recall, the whole setup's probably right around that $70,000 mark. So that's a lot of donations, across the country, literally. So we'll talk more about that next month when we unveil it. I want to put a bug in everybody's ear, kind of plant the seed. The county clerk in the courts approached me, reference possibly seeing a generator for the courthouse. I know it's pretty shocking that our courthouse here does not have a generator. We've tried to get generators for years for that building, and we've never been successful with that. Now, working with Coven, that might be something that we will be able to get towards the grant or the COVID. Now that everything is online, it's on Zoom. Now might be a perfect time to capitalize on a generator for that building, and the state paid for it. So, timing's everything. So we are in the process of working that. So we'll bring that presentation to you in the next couple of months. But it's definitely something that's shocking that we don't have it yet, but it's definitely something that we need. It's been in our 5-year plan for 25 years. So hopefully we'll get there. Some good news, really want to send a shout out to a student teacher at Lincoln Elementary School. Part of her Rockford University, part of their responsibilities is to do a fundraiser. So she did a fundraiser. Her name is Emily Ashens, which is the daughter of, if you remember Jerry Ashens, Lieutenant Ashens with the Sheriff's Office, who retired. Actually raised almost $1,500 in Lincoln School by collecting coins, which that's a tremendous amount of coins. So kudos to her, and we appreciate that. She's a great kid. Lastly, it's National Correctional Officer Week this week. So if anybody, pays a visit to the jail, hopefully not officially, let the guys know we appreciate what they do. Corrections is a very difficult job to do. And then next week is National Police Week. We will have a display out at the Cherryville Mall. So hopefully, if you have kids or grandkids, take them out to the mall. There'll be a lot of squads out there and we'll be set up out there along with our EMA and recruiting and things like that. So other than that, I would just quickly open it up for any questions if anybody has any. Otherwise, that was record time.
Any questions in the boardroom? Any questions on the phone?
No, Dave Wiltsey, just want to make sure I'm online after trying. Thanks.
You are on.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Sheriff. All right. Next would be our 6.2 highway, Boone County Highway Engineer. Justin, are you on the phone?
I am.
The floor is yours. We can't hear you well, though.
Okay, I'll try to speak loudly. I don't have a whole lot. I've got everything up on board docs. Did have a material bid opening this morning. Asphalt price, I bid out all sorts of different materials. Asphalt prices came in at $46 a ton. If you recall, last month we approved bids to be placed at $56 a ton. So it's essentially $10 more a ton to do the contract work versus actually going to pick up the raw material. Anyway, bids came in pretty good. Those will be presented to Finance Committee meeting next week. We will be starting our roadway surface improvements. Looks like probably the second week of June. We are going to be doing some maintenance work on Cherry Valley Road between Irene Road and Flora Church Road next Tuesday and Wednesday. That will be closed during between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. on next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. The first item on the list was the grants. We were unsuccessful with I submitted a Woodstock Road. I was hoping for third or fourth. We got 9th place, so that was not successful. But Appleton Road for the city of Belvedere will likely get some funds out of R1PC, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions in the boardroom for Justin?
I have a quick one.
Sherry?
Hi, Justin, it's Sherry Gieske. Are the unforeseen circumstances that are going to delay the road striping, painting, anything you can talk about?
It is. Well, we go out to bid through the Illinois State bid process, and the low bidder has been the same firm, Enos Flint. They apparently produce their paint or some type of product of their paint down in Texas. And when we had those earlier situations in Texas this year, supposedly they're claiming a force majeure based on those unforeseen circumstances down there. So I think it's getting all worked out, but it is delaying things a bit. But it sounds like as of this last week, we're hopeful to start getting things shipped here in the next couple weeks. So, we're not quite where we wanted to be, but we should still be fine.
Thank you. At least it wasn't stuck in the Suez Canal.
Yeah, that's right.
Silver lining. Any other questions in the boardroom for Justin? Any questions on the phone? All right, thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Quarterly department presentations. First up was our state's attorney, Tricia.
Good evening, everyone. I did submit a written report. I'm just going to hit some highlights and talk about an additional issue. So the first thing I just talked about was that things are sort of getting back to normal in the court system. We're resuming jury trials. We're moving the traffic call from the community building back to the courthouse. We're continuing to spread those out over every 15-minute intervals to still keep the numbers low. The judges really like the use of Zoom by both attorneys and defendants. So I see that going forward into the future, even after COVID. In addition, I looked at the caseload numbers, and we're about 25% higher than we were last year at this time. The only number I have with me, I left the misdemeanor and traffic on my desk, but as for felonies, this time last year, we had 75 filed, and now we have 100 this year, this year. So things are kind of getting back to the pre-COVID numbers of arrests and charges. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I've been working on some change in legislation based on the death of K-9 Loki. And when we went to charge based on that incident, we found some holes in the law, mostly involving either the mental state you had to prove that someone knowingly or intentionally injured an animal, or that the penalties were not, for a DUI, for example, the only time that you could increase the penalty was if it was a person, not any kind of animal. So I proposed 4 different statute changes with Representative Sosnowski, and he presented all 4. One gained traction, and I testified at a committee hearing with the legislature, and it did pass the committee and into the legislative body at this point. So I'll keep you updated on if that is going to move forward. And the one that is moving forward is that it makes it a felony if you, during a DUI, injure a police dog or other service animal. So that was kind of the one that moved forward. So hopefully, if something were like this to happen in the future, we can get justice for the service dog. And the other thing I wanted to mention, and I don't want to steal Ms. Gallinow's thunder, but she's going to talk about the Cosep Grant that was approved by City Council this last Monday. And I just wanted to mention this because one of the topics that came up at City Council was that they were maybe going to try to propose to change the intergovernmental agreement that they have with Boone County to pay for the police officer that's a city officer anything above and beyond the grant. And just so that, in the community, if you're out there and you possibly get questions, I know that Mr. Riley was there as well, but just so you're aware of that issue, that that might be something they would come to ask for. They never made it contingent on hiring that officer. So that is moving forward. And when we wrote the grant, we don't believe there's going to be anything that's not covered, down to even office supplies for this officer, vehicle, office space, that sort of thing. The salary's covered. The one issue was overtime. The overtime is being controlled in the current IGA that the chief has to approve it. And we're also going back and trying to modify the grant to get that piece so that it may be covered. It is not anticipated that this position is going to have overtime. The intention of this position is to be working 9 to 5 when the agencies that you can refer people to for substance abuse, mental health are open because they want to get those connections with those services. So we don't anticipate that, but I just wanted the council or the board to be aware that that is something that was brought up at City Council. So I'll take any questions if anyone has anything.
Any questions in the boardroom? Any questions on the phone? Get lucky.
Great. The only thing I will mention is I am leaving, but I will be on the phone. I know there's some issues later on in the agenda that if you have questions, I will be available, as well as Carla Mayville from my office is on as well. So don't hesitate to ask if something comes up later in the meeting, even if I'm not physically present. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Trish, nice.
All right, 7.2, Public Defender. Carrie? Carrie?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so I would agree with Tricia that things are getting back to normal. I think my report reflects that. It's still harder to resolve particularly traffic matters when everyone appears by Zoom, but I think things are improving in that score. I'm still helping out in traffic cases because we were just getting swamped. There's so many, and my traffic attorney was just not able to have all the appointments that were necessary. I've been privileged to have an intern during the spring session. He just went back to, or that finished, he ended his semester, and we're hoping that he's going to come back in the fall. One other issue is that next week they're going to remove asbestos from my building. So there is a possibility we could have a problem one day if the air quality is not good. So just wanted you all to be aware of that. Any questions?
Oh, sorry. Any questions for Carrie in the boardroom? Any questions on the phone for Carrie? Mr. Chairman?
Just a clarification for the record. I know Carrie mentioned that removing asbestos from her building. What they're doing, what the landlord is doing is changing carpet in the hallways and common areas and the tile underneath that they're going to remove, where it's glued to the tile that's underneath. So they're going to remove that because of the age of the building. There's concern it may be asbestos tile. It's not confirmed. So they're doing all the work after hours and putting in all the EPA guidelines and mitigation measures. So it's doubtful there'll be any issues, but that has been addressed with them and her staff, so that if there are any issues, they're more than capable to work remotely also. So just anytime that A word gets mentioned, people get nervous, but it's certainly all the mitigation efforts are being put in place to ensure safety of everyone.
No, we would probably have to close for the day is what I was getting at. So, yeah, I won't be able to have appointments with people.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 7.3 probation.
Golly, thanks. Right? Yeah.
Hi, good evening. I did give a written report as well. When the other two departments talk about business as usual, that is true. When they're busy, that means we're busy. Our numbers have increased. We have a lot of movement, new orders in our department. Our numbers were down because cases were not getting disposed of, and they now are on the uptick, as Ms. Poirier and Ms. Smith had stated. In April, we lost a good officer. She wasn't with us long.
If I could just interrupt you, can you make sure that you speak into that microphone, just so we make sure it all gets recorded?
Okay, is that better?
There you go.
Okay. Nobody's ever accused me of not being loud. Ms. Armstrong was a DeKalb County dispatcher before she came to us, and she wanted to be in probation. That's what she went to college for. And then later learned that wasn't for her, so she went back to DeKalb. They made her an offer she couldn't refuse. So we were sad to see her go. We have hired a new officer named Erin Schwartzbach. She is a North Boone resident, a North Boone graduate. So she's very familiar with our county. I was thrilled to have that. We're not used to getting a lot of applicants that are in our county, so that was really good for us. Our administrative assistant has also left. This is more turnover than our administration has had in 20 years. So she left. However, she left on a good note. While she was here with us, she was working on her 4-year degree. And wanted to be a probation officer. So she earned that. And now she is in DeKalb County as a probation officer. So we're pretty proud of her for that. As Tricia had stated, myself, Judge Tobin, and Tricia and Jessica Perillo, the program manager for the Core Grant and the Cosep Grant, were all at the city council meeting on Monday night. There was much discussion back and forth on the issue at hand of hiring a veteran officer to fill that role for the Cosep Grant. It did pass 6-4, so we're very pleased with that. I spoke with Matt Wallace today with the Belvedere Police Department. He is a deputy chief. His intent is to have that officer rolled out sometime in June. So they will be providing follow-up on police calls and for victims and people in need that weren't necessarily arrested. That's all I have. Is there any questions?
Excellent. Any questions in the boardroom? Any questions on the phone? All right. Thank you very much.
Nice, Amy.
7.4 Circuit Clerk. Linda, you on the phone? Linda, are you on the phone?
I guess if you wouldn't mind, I can say just a few things.
I mind a little bit.
I'm not sure where the city clerk is. However, you'll notice that her report is actually submitted online and it's written. And then from now on, Tom Jakeway, the trial court administrator for the 17th Circuit, will be submitting a report too, and we'll attach that under circuit court under the monthly departmental reports, and that's there for your review as well. I just wanted to make that known because he did a good job on it. So, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. All right, 8, written monthly departmental reports or updates. If anybody has any questions or anything to add on those. Nothing. And then we're going to move along to new business. 9.1. I'd like a motion to approve claims with the understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by William Charles, and Bill Robertson abstains from voting on all claims presented by B. Robertson Lock Service.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Carlisle,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Schabacker. Roll call.
Do you want to ask if there's any
Oh,
discussion?
or any discussion? Sorry, roll call.
Okay. Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Schabacker,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartell,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 9.2, a motion to move comprehensive plan amendments forward to the county board for approval. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Bill Robertson,
Second.
seconded by Steve Schabacker. Discussion? Izzy?
Okay. All right, good evening. So I do have a presentation if you'd like to follow along. Thank you. Okay, so we are talking about updating figure 10.5 in the comprehensive plan. What you see up here is what is in the comprehensive plan now. There have been several land use applications that have come up that show some of this figure is outdated. We wanted to go ahead and update that. So there are 3 things that will be changing. The general area located on the northeast corner of Business Route 20 and Town Hall Road. Currently, one of the parcels that you see highlighted is institutional, and that does not align with the commercial zoning that it's under, nor the future outlook, which is commercial, so that'll be updating. The second location is the northeast corner of Station Street and Garden Prairie Road. If you recall, we saw a rezoning that occurred in this area from industrial to a residential district, which is what it has been for quite some time, so we updated comprehensive plan to reflect that. The third change is going to include or highlight the 1992 and 1995 agricultural areas. Currently, these agricultural areas are designated as greenway and open space, which is not the same thing. So we wanted to make sure that we called those out. So it'll be a specific section in the legend, which is right here. So again, this is the figure that's updated. It's very small to see, but if we're looking for the property, we'd be able to find that it has been updated. And then the second item in the key shows the agricultural areas. The map that's in your packet showed agricultural preservation because that is what our maps were reflecting. But after looking at the Illinois Department of Agriculture and the act that regulates these agricultural areas, we wanted to make sure that we called it agricultural areas. So that's updated as well. So there are standards that need to be applied and met if a comprehensive plan amendment is to be approved. So one or more should apply. So the Planning Commission voted on these as well and voted in favor 3-0. So there have been a change in projections or assumptions. Yes, the data used in the basis for formulating the comp plan are in error. We found that to be true. There are new issues or new needs that have presented themselves. That one does not apply. And number 4, the amendment will not adversely affect the character of the area. That is true. It is met it actually will align much better with the current and the future outlook of the property. Staff is recommending that the comprehensive plan be amended, and that committee of the whole recommend in favor of this amendment as well, and moving it forward to a final decision by the county board.
Thank you. Any questions for Izzy or discussion? Sherry?
Just one clarification. So what you showed up, there was the ag preservation, the little light blue, is
Yeah.
that correct?
It's going to be agricultural
It's
areas.
gonna be called agricultural areas.
Yes,
Okay, because
yes.
at the lot of record, I was trying to figure out, is A2?
Yes.
Ag preservation, then I was looking at that
Yes.
map and couldn't find anything, so
Nope, and yes.
good
So-
job. Good job.
Yeah, well, the thing that I mentioned is that all of our maps call it agricultural preservation. It'll be
Yes.
1992, 1995,
Got it.
agricultural preservation, because that is in fact what it is. If you look at the program, it is to preserve and to ensure that there's no development outside of agricultural purposes. So technically, it is agricultural preservation.
Okay.
But it's an area. And so we want to separate that because the zoning is too close.
Kind of like changing lot of record to Charlie.
Exactly.
Got it.
So,
Inside joke, guys. That's what we're gonna call him, Charlie instead of that lot of,
Any other questions for Izzy?
good is he? Nice job.
Any questions on the phone or discussion? All right. Roll call.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Shabak.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartel,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
9.3, move winding path text amendment forward to the county board for approval.
Second, or I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sherry Geeske, seconded by Jeff Carlisle.
Brain.
Okay, so this text amendment is going to be regarding B1, local business district, and B2, general business district. So planning department received an application for several uses that are currently not permitted in B2. However, they have been existing in B1. So again, that's general business district, which is B2, and local business, which is B1. The uses that are being requested are all appear to be in the same category. So we're talking about a landscaping business, retail nursery, nurturing stock, and the sale of lawn and garden ornaments. The uses are currently permitted in B2, with the exception of the landscaping business. They're all permitted by right. The landscaping business does require a special use permit in B2. So after looking at the code, we found that the uses were not as intense and typically would all be bunched together. And so we looked at what B2 said, and we wanted to mimic that into what local business said. So the uses could be considered as part of a local business district. The applicant actually owns and runs this type of business and lives and works locally in Boone County. So what you have in front of you is what is currently in the code, and this is going to be only looking at the table of permitted uses, 3.16.1. And again, it's those four uses. So the first one is going to be the landscaping business, which is business/contractor's office and business, which currently is not permitted in B1, local business, but does require a special use permit. And the rest of the uses are permitted, which again are nursery stock, nursery retail, and the sale of lawn and garden ornaments. I did look at some of the past zoning ordinances to see what they called out specifically, that any use that was like the ones that we're talking about. And what I did find was that commercial greenhouses were permitted. So that is the only use that I found that was like what we're talking about. Again, this is a commercial level of green, of nursery, of retail type of stock. And then it was dropped out sometime after 1990 as to what we see today. So the proposed amendment would be to allow the business/contractor's office and business, which is the landscaping business, as a special use in B1, local business district, as it is in B2. And then allow nursery stock and a garden center type retail, nursery retail, and sale of miscellaneous lawn and garden ornaments as permitted in local business district, as it is permitted in the general business district, which is B2. Okay, so ZBA also recommended in favor of this approval, or recommended approval of this amendment, 3-0. And what you have before you is the staff recommendation as well.
All right.
Questions on that?
Any questions for Izzy? In regards to the amendment? Questions on the phone? Roll call.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Shabbat.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartel,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
9.4, can I get a motion to move SUP-09-2021 Costello Acosta special use forward to the county board for approval? Izzy?
We need a
Yes.
motion in a second.
Sorry, motion first.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bill Robertson, seconded by Jonathan Van Laar. No, Izzy.
All right, thank you. This is a special use application located at 6538 Illinois Route 173, located in north central Boone County in Poplar Grove Township. The site is approximately 5 acres and it is improved with a single-family home, landscaping business, and various accessory structures. The site is zoned B1 Local Business District. The B1 Business District is intended for a variety of retail uses. It actually does call out some residences, and it can be anywhere from 0.5 acres to the 40+ acres that we see those big stores at. And again, it does allow for more involved special uses. The applicant is seeking a special use permit to allow an existing landscaping business to continue. The applicant would like to grow their own nursery stock, have storage for the business, which would be located in existing structures, maintain the landscaping to protect the view as well. As you see, there is a fence existing already on the property, a sign advertising the business as it is called out on the site plan that was attached to the packet. I did want to look at the surrounding area. So in the surrounding area, there is like an antique sales type of shop, a convenience store, and a restaurant. There's a church. So it does align with a local business, mixed residential type of uses in the area. So it wouldn't be out of line to have something like that. And again, it has been existing. When we look at the zoning ordinance, the use is not permitted in B1. So this is attached to the text amendment that you just heard, TA 08-2021. So any approval of the special use would be contingent upon the approval of the text amendment. There have been other reviewing agencies. Building and zoning did comment that if the project is approved, an occupancy permit would be required and all commercial and accessibility codes would apply. Otherwise, there were no other objections. The Planning Commission did look at the comprehensive plan. The future intended use of this property is commercial. Again, this type of use is intended for restaurants, hotel space. Again, some parcels do contain dwellings and they do range from small to very large. Comprehensive plan goals and objectives that could be met if the project is approved. Goal 7.1, strengthen the existing business community to retain and expand employment opportunities and investment, and of course, to promote small business ventures. Again, the Boone County Planning Commission did vote in favor on April 20th, 3-0. The Zoning Board of Appeals looked at the findings of fact and voted in favor 3-0 on April 27th, found that the proposed use has been existing and this permit would actually bring the use into conformance. The use is not anticipated to have any negative effects. It would have to conform to the applicable regulations in the business district. It would be in line with surrounding development. If anybody did drive by there, the single family home is more towards the road and the business is actually set back. There is landscaping, like I said. It looks nice. The proposed use, again, with the special use permit would bring into conformance an existing thriving locally owned business that serves Boone County and the surrounding communities. Staff is recommending that Committee of the Whole recommend in favor of moving the special use forward to final approval by County Board with the following conditions. Must adhere to the site plan as presented. They must obtain appropriate permits, including but not limited to the occupancy permit, and any outdoor storage or inventory shall be screened as it was presented in the site plan. Any questions on that one?
Any questions for Izzy? Sherry?
I have a question for you. How many years is it going to take you to clean up all this fussiness here? That's a joke. That is a joke. That place has been in business longer than you've been alive.
That's what I hear. Yes, absolutely. The applicant is here, if you guys have any questions for her, but yes, that was kind of originally what she mentioned,
Yeah.
that this has been an ongoing business. And
Absolutely. I'm so proud of you.
Any other questions? Questions on the phone? Roll call, please.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartel,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can I be kind of out of order for a second?
Okay.
May I ask the applicant, are you just wholesale or are you retail also?
Well, if people come to us, we don't turn them away.
Okay, well, that's good.
If you've driven by,
Yes.
we have gates up.
Yes,
And when we moved in, our son was 3, and we, didn't want
sure.
people revolving through there. We weren't set up for retail, so we just
Okay.
kind of wanted to have our space, we brought our landscape business to that, that's what we excel at. And so we have just kind of waited to transition into
sure.
more of a retail. So, yeah, it's just gonna be kind of a process for us to, and this is the first step, I guess.
So in other words, keep checking back.
Yeah, like I said, never turn anybody away.
Good, I understand. Good luck.
But we're more design build
Yeah.
and install.
Good luck, thank you.
All right. Item 9.5, can I get a motion to move MA-11-2021 tax rezoning forward to the Boone County Board for approval?
Make that motion.
Motion made by Jonathan Van Laar,
Second.
seconded by Jeff Carlisle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so this is a map amendment located at 1493 Ibsen Road and an adjacent parcel located directly west of 1493 Ibsen Road. This is located in southwest Boone County in Flora Township, and it is improved with a single-family home and some accessory structures. The site is currently zoned 2 things. So R1, single-family residential district towards the front of the parcel, which is in line with the area, in line with the current use. And the rear portion is zone B2, which again is intended for more intense commercial uses. Single-family residences are not permitted, so this could be considered a non-conforming structure and use of the land. So I wanted to see what happened with this box that's B2. And I did find actually that it was zoned B2 in 1962. It was approved with a different configuration of the land, so it's not what we see today. However, it was approved for a type of farm business, I believe, building material supplies and vehicles. And that was the point of this business and the rezoning. Of course, the rezoning didn't change once the property began to change, the property lines and the different configuration and all the R1 through, and that spot just stayed B2. The comprehensive plan is also a little bit tricky because the future intended use that's showing is industrial. So that would be in line with across the street from US Route 20, that's all industrial. However, the subject property is residential, and it has been since the 1900s. And the area around there is also residential, and then the area even further south is agriculture. So I think we need to look again at tweaking a little bit the comprehensive plan and perhaps finding a transition zone or more of a mixed use perhaps. So that's something that we want to keep in mind and make a note of. So the proposed zoning would be to clean up that rear portion and get it back to R1, which is single-family residential. There is a section in the code, 3.1.4 letter E, which does say that whatever the zoning district is at the road frontage, that is what dictates the entire lot. So essentially, this B2 zoning doesn't have any regulation over the property. However, the double zoning could become a problem with any land use transactions. So that is why we are here. So again, it'll be rezoning the back portion to be R1, single family, like the front portion, and make it all one. The findings of fact were reviewed by the Zoning Board of Appeals and found that the use would be in line with the new zoning district, because that's what the front portion is anyway. Again, the zoning classification was right in line with what we're seeing in the surrounding area. The proposed zoning would not change the surrounding area. Actually, it would clean up the zoning districts and eliminate that leftover zoning that should have been actually erased when the parcels began to change and divide. There is a general trend of this mixed residential manufacturing, as I mentioned, so we might want to look at the comprehensive plan, which is finding of fact number 5, and how it should be reviewed so that we can align it better and take into consideration the homes that have been there again since the 1900s. So staff is recommending that committee of the whole recommend in favor of this map amendment to move it forward for a final decision by county board.
You say 1900s, like that's 21 years ago, right? Early 1900s?
It's a 1900s, I think what it said.
Sounds funny. Any questions for Izzy? Mr. Carlisle?
Is there an easement that's going to take effect in any of that?
An easement,
Any easements that,
I didn't see any existing easements, no.
Any other questions for Izzy? Questions on the phone? With that being said, roll call, please.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Schabacher,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes?
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartel,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
9.6, I'd like a motion to move ordinance 21-09 amendment to section 2-34 member compensation, mileage for county to be allowed a per diem and mileage reimbursement for attending zoning board of appeals, parentheses ZBA meetings, forward to the county board for approval. Kevin, you have something? Yeah.
We need a motion and a second.
Sorry, a motion. Can I get the motion? I'm lost.
Make that motion.
Motion made by Steve Schabacher, seconded by Jonathan Van Laar.
Okay, yes, so this evening, we have put together an amendment to an ordinance, -34. The chairman, last board meeting, proposed language to the Boone County Code to allow board members to be paid per diem and mileage for in-person attendance at zoning board of appeals meetings. Testimony is taken at zoning board of appeals meetings on zoning issues that are decided by the full board. The chairman wanted to encourage attendance at those meetings so board members are informed about the issues in advance of the meetings. The proposed ordinance would increase compensation of board members, therefore due to statutory restrictions on elected officials increasing their own compensation. This section would not be effective until new members are elected. And on the projector, we have just section or subsection E there that has that language to allow for in-person attendance at zoning board of appeals meetings and to receive compensation.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions or discussion in regards to this per diem? Sherry?
Excuse me. I see a slippery slope perhaps here. First of all, I think, we receive far more comprehensive information on every topic we talk about than we've ever historically done. We get an executive overview that is done by admin in conjunction with department heads. We have the materials ahead of time, so we all have an opportunity to look through them. And I just know that any one of us can call the administrator or the department head and get some more information. So for that reason, I'm not sure I agree with this. Next, we only have 3 meetings to prepare for. And the truth is, we only really have to prepare for 2. You know, we do our homework and all the, take care of all the operational stuff in these meetings, and then we go to the board meeting. There's not much. And I guess my last issue is back to, if we start with this, why aren't we going to pay people to go to the Regional Planning Commission meetings? Why, I mean, if we're going to pick and, I understand the background and I understand we need to be prepared for these things. But it seems to me, you know, we all learn in different ways. Being in attendance is fine for some people, but it isn't necessary. And I always sort of, this is a volunteer position, you guys. Nobody's getting rich on this. So I get a little persnickety about dangling money. That's my 25 cents worth, not my nickels worth. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
I would just respond, and I appreciate Sherry's comments. I would just respond that I just think it's one more way to try and get board members to make sure that they're informed and have the opportunity to sometimes talk with individuals who are coming for or against a project or who are directly involved in a project while they're at the ZBA and hear and understand the discussions that the ZBA is making and how thorough they're being. And you can read it. The summaries don't always tell the story of what's happening at ZBA and the passion and the discussion that's had. So I think it's a really important meeting that, you know, is always extremely useful. And was strictly just a way to try and encourage board members if they wanted to come. Obviously they don't have to, but if you want to come, give that small carrot, because like you said, we're not getting rich doing this.
I know.
That's my reasoning behind it. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any other questions, Mr. Carlisle?
Going to these different types of meetings, if you're just sitting and listening, and if you're not appointed to it, there's no reason to get compensated for it. If you're appointed to it, you should get compensated. We have a lot of groups that we probably should go to and listen to, but we don't. I really think if you're appointed, you should get compensated. If you have an interest, you better get there and listen to them if you have an interest. I get Carl's point and I get Sherry's point. But I think it really comes down to if you're appointed to do that, then you should go. If you have a situation on that or subject matter that really presents itself that interests you, be there. As many times I think Carl's been there, I've been there, Sherry's been a few of them that really make some points when it comes to things that we're very interested in. That's when we show up. Maybe we should maybe rotate a staff member now and then and report on it. I don't know, just to pay because somebody shows up. I'm not all in on that right now.
Thank you, Jeff. Sherry.
I just want to follow up with what you're saying, Jeff, because I see all points too. And it's not just if you have an interest in it, it is if you don't understand the materials that have been given to you ahead of time. That's what I think should, precipitate someone attending the meeting. But that's how I look at it. If you're not understanding what you've been given in the written word, then, I think we can attend any meeting, not just, we can go to any meeting if we'd like. But anyhow, not to contradict you, Jeff, but.
Is this the a $65 per diem that we, same?
Yeah, standard per diem.
I personally find it good to encourage. I mean, as board members, we all have lives and jobs and things outside here. So practical application, I'm one of those that learns in person better. I'm not saying that I wouldn't go if I wasn't compensated, but it is a nice perk. But I know we all have families. We represent, our districts, and I think the more involved we are, they deserve that. I'm not saying we deserve that. I'm just saying anything to get people there, I would appreciate. And I've I'm the first to admit that I haven't. So any other discussion in the boardroom or on the phone?
Dave Wiltsey.
Go ahead, Dave.
As city attorney for Des Plaines, I generally tried to discourage aldermen from attending the ZBA meeting. Now, the dynamics are really different. The wards were small, 7 or 8 precincts. The alderman of the ward was deferred to substantially by his or her colleagues. But the fact of the matter was, at least in this plain circumstance, that the zoning board, as it is in the county, is an advisory to the main body. And so I wasn't really encouraging that. The question, I have a question and then a further comment. The question is if and when members of the county board appear or attend the ZBA, are they allowed to ask questions or make statements?
Go ahead, Carl.
Dave, this is Carl. The only time a board member would be allowed to make statements or ask questions or anything like that would be during the normal question and answer period, just like a member of the general public. So county board members would be there strictly as an observer of what's happening at the ZBA. They're not involved and should not be involved in trying to help make any policy decisions. And anytime I've seen board members at the ZBA has not looked to board members for decisions or how to make decisions. I don't recall that ever happening.
Thank you. I'm not sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with this. I do agree that we should encourage attendance, but to pay and compensate someone, I'm not sure. At this juncture right now, I'm not comfortable with it. I'll be voting no.
Thank you, Mr. Wiltsey. Any other discussion on the matter of per diem? That is it. We can move to roll call.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Gieske.
No.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
No.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
No.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
No.
Sherry Bartell.
No.
Rodney Riley.
No.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
No.
Motion fails.
Nine point 7. Can I get a motion to move resolution 21-12 extension to pay liquor license renewal for business closed due to COVID-19 forward to the Boone County for approval?
So moved.
Motion made by Sherry Gieske,
Second.
seconded by Jeff Carlisle. In discussion. I think, Kevin, you have something?
Yes, I can speak really about this. Back in last year, May 2020, a resolution, or the board passed resolution 20-09 to extend the due date of the liquor license fee from
Seven noes.
May 15th to October 1st. The board asked us to prepare a resolution to do that once again for year 2021. So the liquor license fee would be due October 1st, 2021 this year.
Carl Johnson?
I think there's some discussion down at this end regarding the last motion. I said motion fails.
Right.
7 no's.
Fail.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it failed.
Carl, I thought I heard you say pass.
I thought I heard you say pass, Carl.
Oh, 7, that's 7 no's, that motion failed.
Yeah, you said fail. Thank you.
Okay.
I even wrote it down on my sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
So motion failed.
We're the only one.
I heard pass.
I did too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all I had.
I heard fail.
Anybody else? What did you- comment on what you heard? Thank you.
We'll YouTube it later.
Executive session? Okay, so any discussion in regards to the liquor license fee moving from May to October 1st? None in the boardroom, any on the phone? All right. Roll call, please.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey. Dave Wiltsey.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Shabak. Yes. Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartell.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
9.8, motion to, can I get a motion to move intergovernmental agreement between Boone County and townships for access to computer-assisted mass appraisal software forward to the county board for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff Carlisle, seconded by Bill Robertson. Discussion.
Should be, Jessica Milner, are you on the line? Not sure.
Yes, I'm here to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Any questions for Jessica in the boardroom or online?
Oh, I didn't.
Get off easy, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wait. Not that easy. Sherry Geeske has a question.
I'm sorry, Jessica. You said.
Of course she does.
Now. That was a surprise that I said anything. I think you said in your memo somewhere about transferring data. Are they doing that, or are you and your staff going to have to do that? It sounds like a Herculean task.
Well, it is a lot of data because, it's the wealth of data represents all the records of all the real estate in our entire county. So it is a lot of data. But through the negotiating process, we've gained the cooperation of the software company that we have been using for 20 years that we are leaving and terminating our arrangement with, and they have agreed to help us with that data transfer, and we're hoping that will help it go more smoothly. But it is going to be kind of an all hands on deck.
So it's going to be a bit of them transferring the data and you folks doing some stuff too. So it's going to be a combination.
And the software company, and DevNet is the company that owns and created the CAMA software, actually will be doing the lion's share. That's part of the agreement that they will be handling most of it. But then at the end of all of that, with the company that built the new software, the company that built the old software, after they do everything they can to just move this data over, the township assessors and the county assessor's office will have to, check it all and correct anything that didn't move and look the way we want it to look. This will be a period. There will be a period of adjustment.
Thank you, Jess. Nice job.
You're welcome.
All right. With that being said, anybody have any other questions for Ms. Muehlner? All right. Roll call, please.
Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Geeske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
I'm going to abstain since I'm the Leroy supervisor.
Dave Wiltsey.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Shabak. Yes. Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
I'm going to abstain. Have an interest in this.
Sherry Bartell.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries with 2 abstentions.
All right. 9.9, we do have 2 raffles, one from Belvedere Youth Baseball, the other one from the Marine Corps League of Rockford. Need signatures for that afterwards. We don't. All right. 10.1, 911 report. Landfill.
Nothing this evening.
Nothing. All right. Section 11, informational, not international items. We got big. Informational items and other business. 11.1, reappointment discussion. Kevin?
Yes, so So this evening, what we ought to do is begin describing, I guess, our wants and the board's wants in the reapportionment discussion. As it stands now, the Census Bureau, and I actually did reach out to them because they ended up releasing states apportionment data, and I reached out to ask if perhaps they would have local data available, and they actually still have that September date, so they will be past the July deadline. So what the board might want to do on record is start discussing what they want their districts to start looking like. How many board members do we want? Do we want to retain our current setup in terms of 12 board members, the 3 districts, those sorts of things, that way on record, because inevitably we will, it'll come to a point where that special committee will be appointed, and at least if the board today has these sorts of things on record, that'll at least get relayed to that committee, and hopefully they'll carry out some of those decisions. What they'll end up doing, there's a whole process, but hopefully, that apportionment data the local data will be available in time for them to draw up those maps, and the GIS department will help them do that. But they'll be the ultimate ones to kind of come up with those sorts of details. So I think, tonight, and we don't have to, go into a whole lot of detail. We can continue putting this sort of discussion on any agenda that we wish, but we will want to start to go on record to describe the sorts of things that we want to put in place, but we cannot because we don't have the apportionment data. So, if that makes any sense. So,
Any questions for Kevin in regards to the reappointment discussion? Sherry Gieske.
So the factors that we have to decide or start talking about are the number of districts, the number of board members. And don't we also have to talk about how to select the chairman, either like we do it by popular vote? Is that the right way to say it?
That is correct.
Okay, I thought there were 3 things. I couldn't remember. But that's it, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, once the apportionment data is made available, we would theoretically need to redraw the maps, because inevitably some of the residents may have moved around. Anyway, there needs to be an equitable,
Division, right?
Any other discussion in regards? Any discussion on the phone?
Yes, Dave Wiltsey.
Go ahead, Dave.
I've actually had some experience with reapportionment, having done the Des Plaines map a decade ago. A question for Kevin or who could ask it: the members of the committee, are they members of the board, or is this some sort of ad hoc committee of other individuals?
Yes, I was actually trying to bring it up because I knew someone would ask that question. I almost got it up. So I believe it's the state's attorney, it's the county clerk. It is, well, of course I don't have, it's the county clerk. I believe it's a representative from the attorney general's office.
Yep.
And then is it
Both parties.
Oh yeah, that's right. Both parties. So it'd be the Republican and Democratic party leaders. Yes.
And I also believe it's a circuit clerk as well as the county clerk.
Yep, circuit clerk, yep.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. All right, let me just say that just for the information of board members that may not have been through an apportionment before, there's I don't remember what it's called, but there's an area smaller than an area code that the Census Department uses, and that area being much smaller, it's easier to change the boundaries a little bit to match this and that and the other to try to get your population within the appropriate parameters. And I just wanted the other board members to know this. This doesn't have to be a large swath of territory, along a railroad line, although geographic boundaries and political boundaries and water tributaries and so forth can be a logical part of that, but there is a smaller subset. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called an SMA or something like that, of data that's smaller than a zip code that the department, the census has available, so that when we get to this, it can be tweaked in minor ways in that fashion.
Thank you, Dave. Sherry?
I just have to ask a dumb question. The next, so the next time there is an election for board members, it's all 12. I mean, well, as far as I can see it, we'll stick with what we've got pretty much, except, numbers move, from one district to another. So everybody's up, the election is all 12 and it's 2 years. Is that right? No, it's not for 2 years? Or I don't know.
So here's how it goes. All 12 members are up.
Right.
And the 12 members that are elected are then, you draw straws. It's real scientific. You draw straws, something similar to that as to who in each district, if we stay just like we are now, so we have 4 members in each district, you take that district, I'm gonna pick on District 2 because that's the one I'm in, and Jeff and myself and Ryan and Steve, we'd all get together and, okay, who had the most votes?
Okay.
And they get to draw first. And then whoever had the least amount of votes in that election draws last, or gets the last straw. And the 2 that get the shortest straws get the short term, 2-year term. The 4 that get the long straws get the 4-year term.
That is the most profound.
I mean, it's
deciding I've ever.
or number. I think maybe it's numbers on a piece of paper, but that's basically what it is. I mean, so you get 2 2-year terms, 2 4-year terms, and those are determined after you're sworn in and after the election as to who had a term, who has a 4-year term.
So there would be 6 board members.
No,
6, the board,
No, he
well,
just-
there's 2 from each district.
there's 4 from each district. Oh yeah, 6 board members would have 2-year terms.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and 6 would have
Got it.
4-year terms, and then you do that cycle
So then
the
that.
next 10 years.
You're doing the Peggy move up after that. Got it. Okay. Thank you. I had no idea.
Yep, and every 10 years, everyone's up for election.
Wow.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may add,
Go ahead.
this recent election in the North Boone 3, the first time ever they've had 5 board members and the first time ever they've elected 5 people. So what's going to happen is the same thing. One member will draw a straw for a 2-year term, 2 for I think 3-year terms, and 2 for 4-year terms, whatever the numbers work out to be. In other words, that's the same process, because the idea is to have your boards staggered and not have everybody up at the same time. Just like the United States Senate selects about a third of its members each time, rather than the House of Representatives, which elects everyone. So that's really the concept of what's going on. Even in the Illinois State Senate, some members of the Illinois State Senate will have a 4-year term and a 2-year term and a 4-year term. Others will have a 2-year term, 2 4-year terms. You see what I mean? So the idea is, at a census, you've got to be up for grabs, but then you settle down to a series of terms for years, so that everybody, a certain portion of the body is up at certain times.
Thank you, Dave. Any other comments or questions in the boardroom or on the phone? Go ahead, Kevin.
So just really quick, I guess what we can start doing is we can add reapportionment discussion to all of the agendas, all committees and the board. But again, definitely before July, so between now and our June meetings, we'll want to try to get some consensus at least on, do we want, the same amount of members, do we want the same amount of districts, things like that. That way, at least it's just on record, and we can have that discussion anytime. I just wanted to just reiterate, so.
Thank you, Kevin.
No problem.
Anything else? We will move on then. 11.2 correspondence. I know there's a letter in there from Senator Severson to the chairman.
I could.
Go ahead.
Just, if you get a chance, if you haven't read it already, Senator Severson's letter to us regarding the Senate Bill 1602 legislation that's proposed that, takes that zoning control away from the county, local counties and local agencies. It's nice. Senator Severson is actually really good about, if we send something like that, he always responds We don't often get responses from our legislatures, whether federal or state. So I just want to thank him publicly for responding to our inquiries and concerns.
Excellent. 11.3 is the UCCI advocacy groups.
Just really quickly, the UCCI annual meeting is coming up. I believe it is in July. I could be mistaken, but please let the administration office know if you'd like to attend, and we can make the appropriate accommodations for you.
That's in Galena at
Yes, in Galena
at Eagle Ridge or whatever.
Yeah. All right, 11.4 board member comments. This is where we get to talk. Mr. Carlisle.
Just want to know if we can bring forth the board discussion, that media discussion I brought to everybody's attention. If you'd like to look at it a little further and discuss it and see if we want to make it something that we want to do, I'd like to have the chair bring it on to a discussionary thing, if at all possible.
In regards to the
application of putting a policy together.
Okay. Can we make a motion to bring that?
It's not something that you'd want to make a motion on, but it's something that, you know, we can go through and talk about and certainly bring up for discussion and to have the board take a look at and see if it's something we want to move on. So
okay.
Head on for the agenda for next month.
Do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other comments, either in the boardroom or on the phone for board members? Sherry?
I guess I'll bring it. I think Tricia sent out an email to all of us about the per diem. That per diem is only, you only can charge, if you came to 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings in one day, you still only get to charge 1 per diem. As much as I appreciate that, I think that was clarified about 5 or 6 years ago. The same thing is it's only 1 time. But my question is, and I only bumped into this because I was looking at section 2.34 compensation mileage, and it still says shall be computed on a per meeting basis. The first on A, 2.2-34A says salary to be paid to the county board member shall be computed on a per meeting basis and fixed at the rate established, so on and so on and so on. So maybe we should change that. Not per meeting, it's per day.
Go ahead, Carl.
Right?
Our chairman.
Is that just referring to the mileage? I thought that's what you were just saying.
Says the salary to be paid to the, maybe the first category is compensation, mileage. And it says, the salary to be paid to the county board member shall compute it on a per meeting basis and fixed at the rate established by the county board resolution. And I know we dealt with this 4, 3, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been several, I thought that was all changed.
Yeah, but I mean, I appreciate, apparently somebody asked and Tricia, explained it again. But I think maybe we need to go in and just say on a per day basis. It's not per meeting. I mean, just if we're going to be consistent, I don't know, or maybe I'm wrong.
Well, Sherry, I know the statute you're talking about. I just ran into that actually later in the day. So I'm going to look at that as to see what actually was passed and what wasn't. And I will let the board know if we have to propose any changes to the ordinance. Hopefully I'll have it on the finance meeting for next week so that we can take care of it all this month.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Sure.
Sherry Bartel. Sorry, go ahead, Tricia.
I was just gonna say it's hard sometimes because what's on the online municipal code for Boone County is not updated as to what resolutions have been passed or ordinances have been passed. So you have to go to look at a couple different spots to see what actually the current language is. So I will verify that and make sure the board's informed next week.
And I only looked at the ordinance. So you're probably right. Maybe it's changed elsewhere. Thanks, Trish.
Sherry Bartel.
I just talked to Julie yesterday about this. And she said that like when we used to have the old meetings where we have our own little group and then this one, we were supposed to get, if we had 2 of them on the same day, a meeting with our group and then this, we got paid for each one. And she said it was changed and we were reading it wrong. So maybe y'all better just ask Julie, something about this. Because that was yesterday when I talked to her.
Mr. Chairman?
It's been, the board member compensation has been on a per day basis. So you can go to 12 meetings in one day. It didn't matter if one was at 6 a.m. and one was at 6 p.m. It didn't matter. You only got one per diem per day, period.
I know, that's what she said, but she said something yesterday that we have been doing it wrong. So maybe we better ask her before.
Well, yeah.
Maybe we can bring it up when she's here.
I think let's let the state's attorney clarify it and she'll give us the skinny.
Well, Julie's getting Julie she does the payroll, and so whatever the correct statutory. So she would take direction on what the ordinance says. So I'll work with Julie as well, just to make sure we're implementing correctly.
Thank you, Tricia. Any other comments or discussion by board members in the boardroom or on the phone? Since we have no executive session.
Yes, one item. Yes.
Oh, we do.
Yes, discuss real estate. Sale of real estate.
Kaiser associated me, didn't he, Kevin? All right. With that being said, we will.
So we need a motion to go to executive session.
Executive session. So moved. Motion made
On
by.
what?
So really quick, so we have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the sale of real estate.
Okay. Can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss real estate?
Right.
Motion made by Jeff Carlisle. Seconded by
I'll second.
Sherry Gieske. Roll call.
Mr. Chairman, how will this be done? Will I have to call back in or?
Nope, you stay right where you're at.
All righty.
Don't kick everybody else off. All right, roll call for this to go into executive. Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Gieske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartel.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, just
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
If I could, I just want to remind board members, once again, this is executive session and that anything discussed in here should be kept in here in these walls. Too many times I wander around the streets of Belvedere or Boone County and find out things we've been talking about in here are out there on the sidewalk. So please remember, it's in some of these things that we talk about in executive session, it's not as big a deal. But if it's something that turns out to be something that's, employee related or health related or things like that, that shouldn't be out there and it gets out there, then we set ourselves up for issues. So please maintain that executive session decorum on these items that we talk about in here. Thanks.
Kevin?
all right, just give me one moment. I just got to figure out these two phone numbers. The phone number ending in 5566. Who is that? You'd have to press *6 to unmute your line. And then there's a phone number ending in 2015, area code 847.
2015, that's me, Mr. Larson.
Okay, perfect. Are you logged in on the computer too, Ray?
Yeah, just for the video feedback.
Oh, okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that, okay, so that both of those are you. Okay.
And Carla is 5566.
Perfect. Okay, then we're all set. Oh, one moment. Sorry. Give me 1 second.